Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Max Sports Entertainment. My name is Deepak Shankar, and today we are here to recap the second half of the first round, the second round, and then whatever's happened in the conference finals so far for the NBA playoffs. So previously we did the IPL recap, then we did the NFL draft as well in terms of that recap and summary. So now we're doing the NBA playoffs. So first we start off Thunder, easy win over the Suns. They so far what ended up being the first sweep of the playoffs. They won 4-0 over the Thunder, and so pretty routine series win for them. The Suns were no match, so very subpar series all around in terms of the viewing experience, but the Thunder advanced pretty easily. Not much suspense there. The Lakers beat the Rockets. Kevin Durant missed most of the series, but still, people thought the Rockets would be able to win the series. And they had a chance. I mean, the Lakers were up 3-0, and then, the Rockets came back, won games 4 and 5, but they couldn't complete the historic 3-0 comeback and be the first team in NBA history to do it. Instead, the Lakers beat the Rockets on their home floor, blow them out. LeBron, a great game to close them out in Game 6 with 28, 8-7. So, the Lakers won that series and advanced to the second round. The Nuggets lost to the Timberwolves. Timberwolves win in 6, and that's despite Anthony Edwards being injured in Game 4, Dante DiVincenzo tearing his Achilles. So obviously prayers up to him. Hate to see that for whoever it is. And then Ayo Dosunmu also being injured. So without 3 of their best players, including easily their best player, still the Nuggets could not win. And that really is, as someone who has said Nikola Jokic is the best player in basketball for the past couple of years now, I think he's lost that title. You just cannot go out in that fashion to a Timberwolves team missing a bunch of their best players, and they lose while having home court in 6 games to the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves shocked the Denver Nuggets, beating them for the second time in the playoffs in the last 3 years and advance to the second round. Spurs, Blazers, same thing as OKC versus the Suns. The Spurs advanced. They win 4-1. They lost one game because, Wemby got injured with a concussion, but luckily he ended up being okay, was able to come back later in the series, dominate. And the Blazers were no match, and the Spurs win 4-1. And so that's the West in the first round. In the East in the first round, the Pistons come back from a 3-1 deficit, defeat the Orlando Magic. The Magic historic collapse in Game 6 to miss, I believe it was 23 straight shots, only scoring 19 points in the entire second half. And the Pistons take full advantage of it. Cade Cunningham, monster, Games 5 through 7. Tobias Harris, to his credit, great performance as well, supporting Cade in Game 7. So they complete the comeback and become... and to avoid, becoming one of the only teams as a 1 seed to lose to an 8 seed in NBA playoff history. Then they advanced to the second round. The Cavs beat the Raptors in 7 games. It was a very back and forth series where the home team won every game. And Game 7, Jared Allen, monster game from him, set the tone. And the Raptors fought hard, but just weren't as talented, especially on offense, and could not get it done against a more experienced, savvier Cleveland team, and Cleveland advances to the second round because of it. Knicks, Hawks. The Hawks gave them a little bit of a scare. It was 2-1, and there was definitely some panic among Knicks fans and among people overall who were supporting the Knicks, and among NBA media who had all predicted the Knicks to win, that maybe the Hawks would pull the upset, but the Knicks put it together. They won in 6 games, blow out the Atlanta Hawks in the last 3 games of the series, especially in Game 6. I mean, the score was absolutely crazy at one point. I mean, they pretty much won that game by 50, and they were up by 50 at halftime, so that was one of the biggest blowouts you'll ever see in an NBA playoff game, or really in any playoff game for any sport. So just an absolute beatdown from start to finish. And the Knicks survive a brief scare and advance to the second round. The Sixers, let's go. They beat the Boston Celtics 4-3. They come back from a 3-1 deficit. And it was just an all-around great performance by the stars. Paul George showed out, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe in Game 7, hitting those 4 threes. And really the defensive effort picked up for the Sixers. They forced the Celtics into shooting mid-range shots and layups instead of giving up those threes, which is how really Boston lives and dies by more than any other team. And it cost them in this series. They lose while being up 3-1. And the Sixers pull the upset as the 7 seed, beat the 2 seeded Celtics. And they beat the Celtics for the first time in a playoff series since 1983. And they finally, overcome those demons. Having been at that Game 7 in Boston, it was a hell of an experience. And before the game, trash talking fans during the game, very eventful. And then after the game, being in the streets, celebrating with Sixers fans who were there, and then trash talking Celtics fans that were there too. So just an all-around great experience, and one of the all-time great playoff memories as someone who's seen the Celtics just have the Sixers number so many times over the years. And I think they had won the Celtics 6 straight playoff series over the Sixers, dating back to either the 80s or maybe the early 90s. And they beat them once in the 2000s in the Paul Pierce, Allen Iverson days, and then multiple times in the 2010s, 2023, obviously. And so for us to finally be on the other side of that was great to see. So the Sixers did advance to the second round. They win 4-3 and complete their first 3-1 comeback ever. And the Celtics also blow their first 3-1 comeback ever. And so that was the first round for the East. The second round, the Thunder, too much for the Lakers, especially without Luka Doncic. They were able to get past Houston, but you just can't get past OKC without probably the best player on the team. Even if they had Luka, they may not have won the series, but maybe they could have won 1 or 2 games. But you just don't have any chance with, a way past his prime, older LeBron and Austin Reeves, who struggled majority of the series, versus, a team as complete with depth and star power as OKC. I mean, even with SGA having, by his standards, a subpar series, I mean, AJ Mitchell really rose and shone for them. Chet Holmgren had a great series. So they just had other guys step up, contribute. OKC, with their second straight sweep, they advanced to the conference finals for the second straight year, beat the Lakers 4-0. And then the Spurs beat the Timberwolves 4-2. And they advanced to their first Western Conference Finals since the 2017 season. And so, in that series, a little bit back and forth. The Timberwolves won Game 1, shocked the Spurs and San Antonio. They won by 2 with the last-second miss to win the game by Julian Champagnie. Wemby had a rough game offensively in that Game 1. Anthony Edwards, coming back from injury as fast as he did, was shocking and great to see. Was still very close to the best version of himself and still showed up in the series. Overall, did as much as he could. But unfortunately, they just didn't get a lot from Julius Randle, who they needed big contributions from. Jaden McDaniels played his part, but still couldn't do enough with Wemby and Castle and Harper. And so Wemby did get ejected in Game 4, had the elbow to Naz Reid, but did not get suspended, so he was able to come back in Game 5 and Game 6, and they blew him out in those last 2 games after the series was tied 2-2. So, the Spurs advanced to face the Thunder in a heavyweight battle in the Western Conference Finals. And so in the East, the Cavs beat the Pistons, so the 4 seed beats the 1 seed. The Cavs, surprisingly, after dropping the first 2 games of the series, come back, win 4 out of 5. The Pistons just didn't have enough offense consistently, just not a lot of support outside of Cade Cunningham on that side of the ball. Really ended up costing them in the end. And then the Cavs, Harden showed up in Game 5, and then Mitchell set the tone in Game 7, and then Harden as well in Game 3. Mitchell in Game 4, he had I believe 40-point second half it was in Game 4, so historic from him. The Cavs, they advanced to their first conference finals since the LeBron years, for the first time since 2018. And so, the Pistons, good team, talented team, won 60 games, so good season for them overall, but definitely they need guys like Cassar Thompson to develop his game offensively and try to find that second guy opposite of Cade Cunningham, even if it is someone like a Julius Randle who's flawed in his own right, and maybe the Timberwolves end up, dealing him, but they definitely need someone, whoever it is, to be able to consistently be a second option to Cade Cunningham, like James Harden has been to Donovan Mitchell, which allowed the Cavs to get over that hump and get to their first conference finals post LeBron James. And so yeah, the Cavs advanced to the conference finals. The Knicks unfortunately beat the Sixers 4-0. It really started off from game one, just an absolute demolition. And down from start to finish, Jalen Brunson dominating the whole series, unfortunately, like he did 2 years ago. And then they just got great contributions all around, especially from the bench. They outplayed the Sixers bench consistently throughout the whole series. Guys like, Landry Shamet and others stepped up. And the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey, tough series for him. Did have the finger injury, but still not good enough, especially, when your direct matchup on the other side is a guy like Jalen Brunson. Embiid was good, but just wasn't good enough. Paul George had good starts to games, but couldn't capitalize on it later on. So, yeah, tough to see for the Sixers, who once again lose in the second round. But definitely, compared to other years, more of an overachieving season for them compared to the disappointments and underachieving of years past. With those second round losses, and the Knicks make it back to the conference finals for the second year in a row. And so what's happened in the conference finals so far? So in the West, the Thunder lead 2-1, game 4 is tonight actually. And so the Spurs had a great game 1. Dylan Harper, amazing. Stephon Castle also really good as well, but did have those 11 turnovers that it didn't bite them in the end. But Wemby, one of the all-time great playoff games in NBA history, 41 points, 24 rebounds, 3 blocks, just absolutely dominating the game on both ends. Had that logo 3 to tie the game, and I believe it was the first overtime or the fourth quarter. I can't remember. I believe it was the first overtime. Yeah, they just an unbelievable shot and game from him. And then they hand the Thunder their first loss of these NBA playoffs. Chet just did not have a great game overall. SGA shot very poorly, but since then, games 2 and 3, it's been the opposite. Chet Holmgren has played much better. Hardenstein has been much more of a factor. They've been able to force Wemby away from the paint, not be able to dominate as much there. And the other guys just haven't been able to step up as much for San Antonio like they were in game 1. And so the Thunder with a relatively easy win in game 2, and then game 3, quite a shock. I mean, the Spurs go up 15-0 in the first quarter. Then the Thunder, they get 76 points from their bench. Jared McCain, Jalen Williams, and the like leading the way. So even without J-Dub, the other Jalen Williams, who's probably their second best player, having the hamstring injury, it still didn't affect them last game. And it just shows that unreal level of depth that OKC has. And they were able to take care of business. Even with SGA having a poor shooting game in game 3, but he did show up in a big way in game 2, had a 30-point efficient game, doing it on both ends, etc. So the Thunder lead 2-1. We'll see if the Spurs can bounce back tonight, or if the Thunder take a commanding 3-1 series lead. And in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's been pretty one-sided. I mean, it started in game 1, which really set the tempo for the whole series, where the Cavs had a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter, but could not close it out. Jalen Brunson just went absolutely ballistic in the fourth, and really just kept picking on James Harden, getting that matchup, getting that switch defensively, and then just going and attacking the Cavs. Very controversial. Kenny Atkinson didn't take a timeout at all during that stretch, which ended up costing them. And then Landry Shamet had a sort of a lucky bounce 3. And it's just everything that could have gone right for the Knicks and everything that could have gone wrong for the Cavs did. And that game goes into overtime, and then the Knicks just absolutely dominate in that overtime. The Garden was electric, and really the Cavs just haven't been able to recover, because game 2 is pretty much a blowout, and then same with game 3 last night. Just had their way. I mean, the Cavs even tried their luck with Cleveland native Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, one of the biggest celebrities in the world, at the game, but just still didn't matter. The Knicks were just better. Jalen Brunson doing his thing again. OG Anunoby coming back from injury for them, which is huge. Mikal Bridges playing a lot better last series and this series than he did versus the Hawks. Josh Hart doing his thing on both ends, with the hustle, with the timely shots, the feistiness on defense, etc. And yeah, they're just a better overall team. than the Cavs top to bottom. And yeah, the Knicks, for the first time ever, actually, they go up 3-0 in the conference finals in their franchise history, and they are 1 win away from their first NBA finals since 1999. So definitely a lot to look forward to and be excited about as a Knicks fan. For the Cavs, just a good season for them, probably overachieved, but still it's tough to be on the verge of getting swept in the conference finals, especially to a team like the Knicks. So we'll see if they can somehow pull off the first 3-0 comeback in NBA history. It's not looking like it. Just looks like the Knicks are just far superior in every way, in all facets, coaching, offense, defense, whatever it is. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how Thunder Spurs plays out, and then go from there. But so that's the update on the NBA playoffs, and that's all I had. So thank you guys for listening to all these videos, and in advance for future videos, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment, share, all that good stuff. And that's all I had. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.